Morning, brothers and sisters. Naomi back for another video. And yes, they're attacking my videos. They're cutting my numbers down. Enough complaining, sorry. Can't help it. Anyway, okay. I wanted to show you a word that the Lord shared with me, okay, the other day. And when I'm studying, you hit a lot of words when you're studying, when you're looking up in Strong's Hebrew, Strong's Greek, and you're studying the passages, and you're looking through and you're reading through the notes. But sometimes you know that the Lord is speaking to you directly and that the message or the word is meant for you. It's intended for you as a message. Well, now I received one of those the other day. And it was Greek number 1742. All right? And it's in Duma. And it's an apparel. It means the outer robe. Now, this is what I've come to understand that outer robe means, that outer garment. It tends to mean or represent the woman's mantle or the daughters of Zion's mantle. All right? And it's specifically an outer robe, a cloak, an outer garment. And then it took me to the word 1746, or she did, to clothe or be clothed with, in the sense of sinking into a garment. So what I took away from that is I put on, clothe another, it says in usage. So it means that we're actually becoming we're actually becoming who we were meant to be, these daughters of Zion. And if you go look that word up, becoming, I believe it's 1096. I'll look it up in my Bible here. I think it's 1096 in your Greek. I think it means becoming. Wait here. 1096. Let's see here. Come into being. Right. To become. I exist. I come into being. So here they're sinking into a garment, or we are. I am. I've been told this. I've been told I've been given a mantle. I've been told it's a robe now. It's a cloak. It's an outer garment. Now, if you go to Micah 2:8, we studied this with the key of David. All right? And I know as time has gone on, I've gotten so this picture has become very clear in my mind. I really understand things that I never thought I would understand with a clarity that I never thought I'd understand them. But if we go to Micah 2:8, it says this, even of late my people is risen up as an enemy. You pull off the robe. Now let me see here. Is robe mentioned here? Okay, so they don't have the number on robe. What was it, 178 or something like that? I'm sorry, I don't have Micah 2 pulled up. Of course, I got all the other passages I want pulled up. Let's pull this passage up right quick. Micah 2, you can't see 8. Go parallel with that. We just capitalized it. Okay, so here we go into Micah 2. Oh, I hit the full chapter. Sorry about that. Okay, 8. Okay, even of late my people is risen up as an enemy. You pull off the robe with the garment from them that pass by securely as men who were at war. That's how they attacked these daughters of Zion. They were the men wielding the axes through the force of getting rid of the righteous spirit represented by the daughters of Zion, who were considered royalty in the land of Israel and Judah, and they were represented by these robes, these outer garments, these mantles that they wore. So if we go in to Micah 2:8, and we pull up the interlinear, your word for robe here is 145, and guess what it means? Magnificence. It means glory. Now, we've identified the woman as the glory. She was the last thing created in the garden, the woman was. And your glory sits on top. Eve was the last. Well, actually, her name wasn't Eve. She was Adam. The two are one. God says, why did I create one? That I might have a godly seed. So she's talking about a male and a female body and a righteous spirit, so that she might might have a godly seed. Now, when you pull robe up, number 145 in Micah 2:8, it's glory, it's magnificence, it's a mantle, it's a cloak. Now, it's showing you what the men of Israel, of Judah, did to these righteous daughters who were the righteous rulers who made the law and governed the land with the law. They were tearing off their robes. All right, and it does appear in one other passage, which makes it clear for us, because we understood that the daughter Zion broke her covenant with her people, then with the men of Israel, with the men of Judah, by writing her name on one of the staffs, and then she breaks that staff, symbolizing that she broke her covenant. Now, that word, magnificent, from Micah 2:8, as robe that they're pulling off of these daughters, does so appear in Zechariah 11:38 as the goodly price, the mantle's price, okay? And she says, I sold my mantle to them, my robe to them, right, symbolizing the breaking of the covenant. She goes to the men, to the high priest, and she says, what do you think my mantle was worth? All right. And the Lord said to me, throw it to the potter, to the potter's house. The handsome price, the magnificent price, the glorious price, the mantle's price at which they valued me. So I took the 30 pieces of silver and threw them to the potter at the house of the Lord. Now the Lord here tells us in Isaiah 49, she tells her daughter that she will reshape her mantle so that it is grander, and that mantle, of course, is Christ, representing the Son that puts back the righteous spirit back in her rightful place. Okay. Now, what I really wanted to talk about, I just thought I'd share that with you, is I wanted to share how the daughter Zion creates a new Eden. And you think it's not in the Word, but it absolutely is in the Word. And it's amazing how the Spirit works to put thoughts together with her children. All right. So I've been studying these passages that have been running through my spirit for quite a few months, for quite a few years, and along with a lot of other passages that over time the Spirit will put together for you. But we've been looking at Psalm 68 quite a bit, all right, and how this is the congregation of the daughters of Zion. And various verses at the time that you're reading, you'll kind of skim over them because you're not 100% sure of what they mean, but they linger in your spirit. And the question is often there as you look at other passages in this passage, and then you possibly see how they all come together. So this is how it was for me. In Psalm 68 verse 9 it says, you gave abundant showers, O God. You refreshed your weary inheritance. Now, I got thinking about that last night. I do this a lot when I'm in bed and I can't sleep. I'll think about verses. I think a lot of us do this. We'll think about passages and how it relates to this passage. So the King James says, thou, O God, didst send a plentiful rain, whereby thou didst confirm thy inheritance when it was weary. So we come to recognize that the inheritance of the Lord, or of daughter Zion in this case, was called the congregation of the Lord, and they are called the daughters of Zion. And when you look up the word confirmed, all right, now I'm going to go in here, okay, to the word confirmed, and we're going to see what it says here, all right. Okay, so the word is, where is it? Oh, it's so slow to scroll down. Okay, it's 3559, okay. And it means to be firm. It means that the matter is determined. Okay? It's very slow to scroll. Her inheritance has been appointed, considered, confirmed, established, formed, fashioned, maintained even. Watch this word. Watch this phrase. Set in order. They've been set in order, arranged, put right, correct, exist. That means to become. I am. I become. I've come into being. That's the mantle given to the daughters here. And what I took away from that, if you start thinking about how God recreates us, I get the understanding that by what she's teaching us, each one of us individually of her children, by what she's showing to us in the scriptures, she's actually rewriting our genetic code. That's what she seems to be doing. And she's writing each one of us like a book based on what she's teaching us. And in that sense, she's putting each one of us in order, all right? She's putting us where we were always meant to be in God's, we'll say, army, all right? So she's confirming her inheritance, all right? It says with rain, that's with the word of heaven, that's with the Spirit. She's teaching us what she needs each one of us to be, all right? So it has the idea almost that she's almost like writing our genetic code like a book. She's teaching us what each one of us needs to be, all right? So she's recreating us. And she's already chosen, it's a divine selection, she's already chosen her daughters of Zion. And now she has begun the process of arranging us in order, in the way that she needs us to be, who she needs each one of us to be based on what she's teaching us and teaching us to understand through the Spirit. All right? So she's confirming us right now. She's confirming in particular her personal inheritance right now, her daughters of Zion, which you see referenced in this verse. All right? And it's going to take you back to that verse in Ecclesiastes 12. She there, your female assembler, which they call your preacher there, has set in order the Proverbs. She's teaching each one of us what we need to know, and she's arranging it in order. She's arranging us where we were always intended to be in the story. She's writing each one of us like a book, our genetic code. Isn't that fun to think about? I think it is. But more than that, all right, we've talked about these daughters of Zion being the mighty army that goes forth. Now, when God talks about recreating, God talks about the fire, all right? Fire, once you get your understanding of what it means in the scriptures in many places and why it does pertain to a real fire, a real cleansing, it's referring to the law of heaven that cleanses this earth, all right? But with that fire, there comes a real potent power, all right? And so, what was I getting at? In Joel 2, this mighty army of these daughters of Zion that goes forth with the law is actually getting ready to recreate. That's what this is akin to. And I'm going to prove that here right now in Joel 2. Let's read the first 11 verses. This is the daughters of Zion in the process of recreation. All right? It says, blow ye the trumpet in Zion. This is the daughters of Zion taking back their rightful position on Mount Zion. All right? They're kicking the harlot spirit out is your allegory here. All right? This is what you're looking at. Now watch. Watch the language, and we're going to use another chapter that shows you that this is exactly what's going on. Verse 1, blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble. Why are they trembling? Because they don't belong there. This is the harlot spirit. This is Babylon. Which takes you back to that verse in Revelation 6. We'll just briefly go there before we read these first 11 verses. What does it say in Revelation 6? We did this already. What does it say? It says in verse 12, and I beheld when she had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. So, who's in Zion right now? She's compared to a fig tree. Babylon is actually compared to a fig tree, which we know is an allegory to Israel. So who's been established on Mount Zion? The harlot spirit. That's what's been established there according to this verse. When the hosts of heaven will fall, here they're trembling. Here the hosts that are inhabiting Mount Zion in the physical sense is trembling now. For the day of the Lord cometh. Who is the Lord that this day belongs to? Daughter Zion 136. We're told that in Zephaniah. We're told it all over the place. We're told it's the judge that sits to Christ's right hand that'll strike through her enemies. Well, here she's on Mount Zion, and everybody in Zion's trembling. For the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. These are the daughters of Zion who have been arranged into their proper order A day of darkness and of gloominess. Oh, there we go. A day of clouds and of thick darkness. As the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong people there had not ever been the likes of. So she's recreated the daughters of Zion, and they are more powerful than they have ever been. They are God upon the earth. There had not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. Verse 3, a fire devoureth before them. That's the law of heaven, but it is a real physical fire as well. And behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden. Well, it may be, but they're recreating it to be the true Eden of God. And behind them, it's a desolate wilderness. This is the recreation process. This is the birthing process of a new creation by the daughters of Zion. Yea, and nothing shall escape them. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen so shall they run. They want to make this army the enemy's army. Well, there's never been an army like them. Sorry, this is not the enemy's army. This is God's army. There's not anybody like them. None. And the wicked wants to take claim to them? I don't think so. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap, like the noise of flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. Well, when you watch read the Ancient of Days, she has chariots. They're coming out from her throne like fire, the Ancient of Days. And you see that with the daughter of Zion, the chariots. And it says the Lord is in amongst them, or in the midst of them, in Psalm 68. And the Lord there is daughter Zion, 136, who will strike through her enemies in the day of her wrath. All right. Now, and here you have them chariots again on the tops of mountains. Chariots feminine. Fire's feminine, flames feminine. Maybe not in this particular passage, but in most of them it is feminine. Before their faces the people shall be much pained. All faces shall gather blackness. Watch what it says here. At the sight of the nations are in anguish, and every face turns pale. It's funny, it's got its black here, but over here it's got its turned pale. All right? So you see an allegory again to the men standing around with their hands on their hips as a woman in travail. They can't deliver the burden, and every face is turned pale. You see, they're without the doctrine of heaven, and they want nothing to do with her. And they've come to the point now they're under complete judgment. All right, every face turns pale. They shall run like mighty women, not men. They shall climb the wall like women of war. Yeah, we've never seen women of war. They've wiped any knowledge of mighty women of war out of existence. They don't want you to know who you are, especially when you're empowered through the Spirit in your rightful place. There's none more powerful. And when we see them climb the wall, guess where that takes us back to? That takes us back to Genesis 49, where the archers in Joseph's blessings have shot at the branches as they pass through the wall. That's your daughters. It says daughters. It doesn't say men. It says daughters. And the word for archers there is Baal, your husband, your Lord, who wants to be your Lord and your master. That's what it says. Let's read it again. Yeah, I'm wrong. Chapter 41. It's 49. It says this: Joseph is a fruitful bough, even a fruitful bough by a well, whose branches, that's your daughters, run over the wall. Here they shall run like mighty women. They shall climb the wall like women of war, because they were denied their rightful place. They were shot at by their own husbands, who took them out of power. And they shall march every one on her way, and they shall not break their ranks. See, Mother arranged them. Mother rewrote their genetic code by what she taught them spiritually to empower them. She gives them mantles. She gives them their robes back. She has recreated her daughters. That's what she has done. And it says the archers, that's Baal, 1167, have sorely grieved her and shot at her and hated her. And we know they hated their sister. They didn't want her ruling over them. So they brought in a whole bunch of harlot wives from the surrounding Adamic nations and married them and put themselves in charge. We're told that in many passages in the scriptures. Let's just look up 1167 here for archers. 1167 says this. It says, a master, hence a husband, an owner, archer, captain, chief man, confederate. So it's your husband, and we're told your husband was made your lord and your master by that king in the book of Esther. He decreed a law in the land, which he owned just about every land in existence, that every woman would bow down to her husband as Baal, as Lord, as God, as master. And you see them shooting at those daughters. The word for branches there, our daughters, 13:23. You look the word up as it passed through the wall. It's referencing the daughters of Zion, who you see wearing their robe, their mantles, which represents their own personal glory given to them by God, their own mantle. And the men are ripping these mantles off of them in Micah 2, whereby you see her, because they reject her, she breaks her covenant, she writes her name on the staffs, and in her inheritance she breaks the staff, sells her mantle. She says, what was it worth to you? What was my glory worth to you? And they give her a goodly price. Is kind of the idea that flows through there, which comes to represent Christ, the new mantle, where he restores her back. So we are free to wear our mantles because of what Christ did. He restored us back, and he could only do that because mother provided him, which is the heifer, I believe, by their sacrifice, burned to ashes. It's kind of your flowing thought. Now, let's finish reading Joel. All right, because this is your army, I think there's 4 36s. There's 4 groups of 36s. These daughters, she's arranging us as to which tribe we are in. We'll wear various colored mantles, I believe. We will have our standards that we will teach. We raise up the new standard, the new banners of the tribe that we belong to. And she's setting us in order for this. She's getting us prepared for what is to come. She is recreating a new creation is what she is doing, and she is beginning with us. They shall run like mighty women. All right, we get another reference to the mighty woman going forth in Isaiah. Let's go there. We've been through these passages, but I'm going to keep hitting on them. Isaiah 42. What does it say? It says this in Isaiah 42, I have long time holden my peace, I have been still and refrained myself, and now will I cry like a travailing woman, and I will destroy and devour at once. I will make waste mountains, your false rulers, your daughter Babylon, your he-goats, your fallen Adams who put the harlot in charge, and dry up all their herbs. I will make the rivers islands, and I will dry up the pools, and I'll bring the blind by a way that they knew not. Okay, we've been through this. We're not going to go through it again. So they shall run like mighty women. They shall climb the wall like women of war, because they're coming back to take their rightful birthright. And they shall march every one on her way, and they shall not break their ranks. They've been set in order by daughter Zion. Verse 8, neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk every one in her path. And when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. These don't die. These daughters do not die. They never did die. They were recreated out in the fields of the Gentiles. All right. They shall run to and fro. That's an image of the Spirit that runs to and fro in the book of Daniel. They shall run upon the wall. They shall climb up upon the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief. The day of the Lord comes like a thief. The earth shall quake before them. The heavens shall tremble. The sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. Again, it takes us back to the hosts of heaven falling like the leaves of a fig tree. Why a fig tree? Because it has to do with Israel, physical Israel, where these daughters of Zion are actually going to go back to and kick the harlot out of. All right. Verse 11, and that's why you see Lucifer fall from heaven, and I believe it's at the 3.5-year mark. She represents the daughter of Babylon, that fallen Adam exalted in the second half, referencing the Holy of Holies, the harlot that he exalts in his heart. and kicked out the righteous spirit, the daughters of Zion, wherein he tore their mantles off. And the Lord shall utter her voice before her army. This is 136 that does this. For her camp is very great. That's your camp that you see, your congregation that you see in Psalm 68. For she is strong that executeth her word. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible, and who can abide? Now, let's go to another part that could have been confusing unless we understand how Mother God is going to go about recreating creation. So, guess where that takes us to? It takes us to Jeremiah 4. And here's what you begin to understand about our existence. And it's a difficult concept for us in this fallen creation to really understand. But when you read Jeremiah 4, you're going to come away with this cyclic idea. All right? So this is the definition of cyclic before we read Jeremiah 4. It's occurring in cycles. It seems to be regularly repeated. Relating to a circle or other closed curves. So it's cyclic. Well, if we understand one thing, the circle represents the woman. It represents birth, the birth cycle, creation. That's what it represents. So when you read Jeremiah 4 and you begin to understand these daughters of Zion coming back into existence, and in Joel 2, where you see them going forth, recreating, in a sense, with the law of heaven, as the fire that does that purifies the land. Then you read this passage in Jeremiah 4, and you're not thrown for a loop so much when you understand what's going on. It says in Jeremiah 4, verse 23, I beheld the earth, and lo, it was without form and void. That means it had no doctrine to shape it. It's just dung. It's crap. And the heavens, and they had no light. I beheld the mountains, and lo, they trembled, and all the hills moved lightly. I beheld, and lo, there was no man, and all the birds of the heavens were fled. So the birds are no longer there. Let's keep reading. I beheld, and lo, the fruitful place was a wilderness. So there was a fruitful place. And all the cities thereof were broken down. So there were cities. At the presence of the Lord, and by her fierce anger. Well, look at that. It looks like creation. It looks like recreation, doesn't it? For thus hath the Lord said, the whole land shall be desolate, yet will I not make a full end. More are the children of the desolate than of she who has a husband. This is recreation going on here. And it begins with the manifestation of the daughters of Zion coming back into existence, sinking into their robes. That mother has determined, she has confirmed her own personal inheritance. She handpicks these daughters for herself, and she teaches us what each one of us needs to know in preparation for the role that we will play in the near future. All right. So she will not make a full end of the land. Verse 28, for this shall the earth mourn, and the heavens above be black, because I have spoken it, I have purposed it, and will not repent, neither will I turn back from it. 29, the whole city shall flee for the noise of the horsemen and the bowmen. What are we talking about? Zion is what it looks like. They shall go into the thickets and climb up upon the rocks. Every city shall be forsaken, and not a man dwell therein. So you see the recreation here. The cutting away of the wicked man, the burning out of the harlot spirit, right? And the reestablishment of the righteous spirit back in her rightful place, daughter Zion, who births a new creation. And when thou art spoiled, what wilt thou do? Though thou clothest thyself with crimson, though thou deckest thee with ornaments of gold, though thou rentest thy face with painting, in vain shalt thou make thyself fair, thy lovers will despise thee. See, this comes back to fallen Adam trying to kick the harlot off, because he's exalting himself now as the one that's going to birth the children. That's what you're getting in allegory. That's why you have a man inside of a man. And the daughters here of Zion is not the true daughters of Zion. In reference in verse 31, these are the harlots. This is daughter Babylon. And that's why the mountain in Zion is trembling in Joel 2. For I have heard a voice as a woman in travail, and the anguish as of her that bringeth forth her first child. The voice of the daughter of Zion that bewaileth herself, that spreadeth her hand, saying, woe is me now, for my soul is weary, because of the murderers. All right. So you can look at that in twofold. You got the harlot pretending to be a daughter of Zion, but you got the daughters of Zion who were kicked out. And now they're out in the fields of the Gentiles, and there they birth their firstborn. All right. This is in the land of Babylon where you birth your firstborn. We're told that in Micah somewhere. So there you have it. You think I'm crazy? Let's go to 2 Peter 3:12 right quick. Do I have that passage? Well, I did have it pulled up, I thought. Apparently, I must have X'd this somewhere along the way. Oh, no, I never had it pulled up. Okay, so let's go to 2 Peter right quick and see what it says. Looking at the recreation account. 2 Peter, and we want to look at chapter, what did I say? 3. Chapter 3. I'm going to go to. It was verse, I have the worst memory. Let's see. 12. Looking for and hastening unto the coming of the day of God, that's the day of the Lord, wherein the heavens being on fire. Now, you run out the word for fire, and it's going to take you to the law of heaven, is what's going to dissolve and purify and recreate, all right? Which is held in the mouth of the daughters of Zion, who are brought back into existence. We are shaped, we are formed by what daughter Zion 136, which is the spirit of the daughter of Zion, is teaching us and preparing each one of us to be. I was told I was given a mantle just 2 or 3 days ago. I was told I was given my outer garment, so I think we're pretty close. We're getting closer all the time to the appointed time. But this all has to do with the creation account, right? Wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Nevertheless, we, according to her promise, look for new heaven and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. And that righteousness dwells by the establishment of the righteous spirit back in her rightful place, which is Zion, Mount Zion. That's what this has all led us to. Oh, I'm excited. I know most out there thinks I'm a crackpot because I'm teaching something that you've never heard before. But I can tell you, Mother told me last winter that I was one of her messengers that she sent with the word. And she told me, I know if you're appointed to be a messenger, it's a serious thing. It's a role that you shouldn't back down from. I don't think I've done that. But I do think I'm coming up on finish because I think I've shown enough of this strange theology, if you want to call it that. And again, on the law being shown as the fire from heaven, the law of heaven. You're going to find a reference to that in 2 Esdras 13, which is considered corrupted text, but it's part of your apocrypha. And there it clearly shows you that fire is the law of heaven. All right. And these daughters are shown as chariots that go forth like lightning from the throne of Mother with her words. They're also referenced as rivers in allegory, cutting through the land with the word. There's so many. And the robe, outer garment, represents the mantle, the glory of these daughters. It represents great glory, is what it represents. Which these men were tearing off of them because they wanted the harlot. And then in the end, they even kicked the harlot off because they fall into their own snares wherein they believe that they're a God that can deliver and birth truth in the earth, and they can't. It's not their job to birth and deliver children. This very creation testifies to that as being a truth. Romans 1:20, you're without excuse. So there you go. There's another video. And like I said, they've been attacking my channel really hard. My last video climbed to 97, and in the same day they knocked her down to 26. So I don't know if they can't count. I'm not sure what the problem is. But it would have been well over 100. It would have been probably up to 150 by now. But they just won't leave my videos alone. So anyway, sorry for complaining. I know many are experiencing that. I have been since the very first video. You just get tired of it. But, hey, that's my calling. Anyway, love ya. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thought there for you to go look into. It is a new theology for most watching this video, especially if it's the first one you pull up. You're going to be really confused about the daughters of Zion, unless you go watch the verses, the videos that shows you clearly what the key of David is. So thanks for all who watches my video. May the Lord bless you in all that you're pursuing, as long as it's of the Lord, for sure. And I hope you all have a really nice day.